It's my pleasure to introduce to you our president of Cal South, Mr. Derek Barraza, who will come forward for our first presentation.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's wonderful to see this turnout. Appreciate you braving the 405 and the 91 and whatever other freeway you had to take to get here. Really appreciate it. I have a short presentation for you today to give you a little bit of an update on what's been going on in the last year and what we can expect going forward in 2015-16. So I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I cannot see the screen. I'm going to see if I can remove the mic. Is that okay, Blaine? You can't hear me back there? Can you hear me in the back? Okay. I'm going to remove the mic so I can kind of come around the front and see what you guys see. Okay, great. Thanks, Johnny. Okay, so thanks again for being here. What I wanted to go through is let's do a little bit of a review of the last year and what transpired. So during 14-15, we had many accomplishments. A lot of them were right up front in the first few months, and then we went through the time it took to get the implementation right. And we're still working on a lot of these things, but let's talk about accomplishments around the competition. I focused some of these around the competition for you. We had a record increase in direct subsidies for our Cal South teams, and this was both youth and adult. So I believe it may be the first time in history we were supporting not just the youth but the adult teams. And we were doing this based upon a formula that the board of directors created, the finance committee led by Ken Goldman, in order to do a greater give back to the teams. And it was a 3-year plan. We're currently in year number 2. The subsidies have increased. And last year, if you were a team on the youth end that traveled not just to regionals but to the national event, you received in excess of $16,000 in direct support to defray the cost of travel. And that's just really, in the past, we've never supported at that level. I really am excited about the support we've given to the kids directly on their ability to travel, and the board of directors was kind enough to approve that. This year we had an increase from the year before, and next year's number, I believe, increases yet again. So great job by the board of directors in providing that funding for the kids. And as I mentioned, we did have adult teams that did take advantage of subsidies as well. We set aside money for them. They're members as well, and this is money that's collected in from the membership, and it's a way of supporting the teams that travel outside the boundaries is what it is. The other things are a little bit administrative, but release and transfer has been a hot topic at Cal South for as long as I've been on the board. And what we did is we listened to the membership. The membership came together with the board of directors on a committee and came up with some ideas, and we implemented a relief system that really gave the membership opportunity to input to the process and make it a little bit easier when everyone is in agreement to move on from one team to the other. And in some cases where roster integrity needs to be protected, there's a way to do that as well. Now, in the first year, it was a huge success. This next year, we had a little bit of course, how things work, right? When people figure out how the system works, then they find ways around the system. So there was some ways around the system that our DCs have uncovered, and they are working to plug those holes. But as we move forward, we will see where the competitive leagues really have control over roster freeze, and it's really the competitive leagues that will decide what is an eligible player. And Cal South will support their rules and regulations with technology solutions in order to make sure those things happen. The other big thing out of there was the elimination of the fees for intra-club transfers. That was a $25 per person or per player that really saved the membership quite a bit of time and effort, as well as some funding. The game forfeiture relief, this was a big one. So the membership spoke and said, look, we show up to play games, our members want to play games. When there's a technical issue or a missing form or whatever, or a coach is stuck on the freeway, we don't want the kids to not play their games. Can Cal South help? And what we did is we restructured our rules in a way, and with help from the Federation, led by Steve Hoffman, our Director of Coaching, Hoffy, we came up with a way where managers could be credentialed. And I think that's a good thing for our managers to have the credential and the know-how to be able to manage the team temporarily and not have forfeits. The leagues adjusted their rules, and we have risk management people on site with the kids, and games are not being forfeited. I believe the forfeits dropped dramatically in the first year of the implementation of that rule. So I thought that was an important one for the leagues. The budget was increased for Top Soccer, which, as you know, it's one of our GEM programs that we really care about a lot. I believe, Sandy, did we double the budget last year? Pretty close to it. And this year we have maintained that increased budget and added even more dollars so that the kids that play in our Top Soccer program will have the support they need for that program. We also increased the budget for recreational soccer and added a new event called the Tournament of Champions. Rick Velasco was very instrumental on this program, as other district commissioners were, I believe. Rick had a team of people working with him, and as well as staff, and we held the very first ever Tournament of Champions down in Escondido, and we had 48 teams, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a big success. We're doing it again, and we've actually added more funding to support that program this year. Okay, Steve. Thank you. Continuing along the lines, so we talked about accomplishments around the competition, around the soccer field. These are accomplishments around the support that we provide with our staff. So I call this the Center of Excellence because that's what we're striving for. And along those lines, we hired a new CEO, and you met him just a few moments ago, if not before, and that's Johnny Garza. Johnny brings a wealth of experience to us. He has administrative background at a much higher level than the types of things that Cal South would demand. Therefore, he is overqualified for the job, but don't tell him that. He's done a great job of coming in and taking a look at the organization and really coming together with a new organization and bringing on people that can help move the organization forward. I asked Hoffy to develop a blueprint for coaching, and he worked on that last year, and he actually finished this blueprint. And what it is a way of defining how we're going to move forward in elevating the level of coaching in Southern California. So we've got some of the best coaches in the world coach right here. How can we do better? That's the challenge. So Hoffy put together a blueprint that we're going to be implementing. I think some of those things have been implemented already, and we'll move forward to make sure that we support our technical staff and technical directors around the state and make sure that we implement coaching that will benefit all of our players. We also came up with a referee risk management ID card, and this was something that was very important. It kind of exposed, it was a Presidio League that actually brought this to us and said, look, we want to know that the referees have gone through risk management. We want to have proof that they've gone through risk management. Can Cal South help? And after quite a bit of time trying to figure it all out, we were able to come up with a program, and now this is the second year that we've issued risk management cards to the referees. So when you have a referee on the field, on the youth side of things, you know that they're not only a certified ref, they're also risk managed, and that was a very important improvement. As you know, we talked last year about the operational review that we completed. We had a long list of things that needed to be addressed and opportunities for improvement, and most, if not all of those items have now been completed. I think Johnny is still working on a few, and some of them he has addressed in his organizational changes that he's working on right now. And I can tell you that the first experience that I've had in looking at some of the areas of improvement, it's dramatic. So our goal here is to build that member service organization. The partnership with Team Runner came out last year, and that's an area where we have a business partner that can work with our clubs and teams. Strictly, it's up to you if you choose to work with them, but a way of helping you when you do decide to travel. That's what that partnership was all about. Further on accomplishments for the Center of Excellence, we've professionalized the State Cup. So, you know, we were blessed with an army of volunteers that created the best State Cup in the world, the largest State Cup in the world that I'm aware of, and took it to a level that is the envy of not only the state associations, but even the National Association looks on our State Cup as being a really awesome event. Well, it got to be such a big event that we really needed to start hiring help. And that's what we did last year. Under Johnny's leadership, actually this year, early in the year, we've gone to a professionalized model. So he's hired employees that can help us continue to improve upon what I'll say is the best State Cup in the country. Cal South Leadership Academy, those of you that have talked to me know this is a program that I really think is very important. We actually have piloted through and delivered the very first 3 full-scale Leadership Academy programs. Now, we've trained about 100 100 participants so far. And I look around the room and I see some of you are actually here. Some of the things that this has done for us has really helped us to really reach out to the leadership of Cal South and engage with you and support you, and also to learn from you. I think that's the most important factor, is that it created a learning environment that not only were the participants learning, but we at Cal South were learning from you. And there'll be a little bit more about that when we continue. We also partnered with Gold Nation to provide editorial coverage. This was all about increasing our branding and our reach in the community beyond the borders of Cal South. And I can tell you there's a slide coming up where we'll talk about some of those accomplishments as well. Okay, so some things that we still need to work on. The Cal South Knowledge Base is something that I told you about that was very important to me. This is a way, you know, it just seems to be a natural fit. We have all this expertise, even right here underneath this tent, as Johnny mentioned earlier. We need to capture that, and we need to store it and make it available so that if you're a brand new soccer person out there in the community and you need to know, how do I lay out a soccer field? I mean, it seems pretty easy, right? It's just a big rectangle with a bunch of circles and stuff in it. It's not that simple. It's geometry, right? And it would be helpful if that kind of information was available to you at the click of a mouse. So that's just one example. So we need to work on this knowledge base, and when we get to, as you can see down here, we also have a web page rewrite. When we get to doing that, this is one of the initiatives that we really want to incorporate, this knowledge base, so that you have a way of accessing information. How do I run a club? What kind of league should I build? Should it be, you know, what age groups? I mean, there's a lot of, almost like a Wikipedia, right? For Cal South, we could do that. Organizational dashboards. This is another one that's really important. If I have a league or a club, what is my standing with Cal South? The last thing I want to get is an email right before the season starts telling me I've fallen out of good standing. I need to stay in touch with Cal South. I need to see what my status is and what's going on. I should be able to go to a dashboard where I have a single view that tells me how many players do I have registered? What is my current finances with Cal South? Do I owe them money? Do they owe me money? Maybe they owe me a refund, okay? Bottom line is, this is a way to give you, as an organizational leader, a dashboard of your relationship with our organization. Risk management restructure. This is something that is in progress. We've been working on it. We need to get our manual rewritten, and we need to get our processes up to date. As time has gone on and some things in the market have changed, and we need to keep up with the change in the market. So this is a very important issue for us to address. I talked about the webpage rewrite. Member voting rights. This is another one. It's a bylaw change, guys. So we really need to come together and get this one done. This answers the question, and there will be a decision process. It won't just be what I'm telling you. We're going to have to talk about it. But there was a lot of energy, at least within me and with people I spoke with, about the idea that if you do happen to fall out of good standing for maybe a billing error or something like that, right now you lose your right to vote. And I'm not sure that's where we need to be. We certainly don't want people that chronically don't pay their bills to remain members of Cal South, but that's a different question. I think the issue really is, can we keep billing issues separate from voting rights, is really the question. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to answer that one once and for all this year, hopefully. And let's see, the Director of Recreational Soccer. So this one, you know, last year we were all set, but I think the fit was wrong. We had some organizational changes. We have a new CEO in the office. I know Johnny has got this on his list of to-dos, and it will happen. Referee mentorship program. This is something that's been bantered back and forth at the board level with our referee leadership as well. And I know that they've got some things in place that they're doing, but we really want to get back to a more grassroots level of making sure that we have mentorship available for the kids. And, you know, the bottom line is, if we need to make a financial commitment, then I think the board's ready to do that. Fully implement the coaching blueprint. We already talked about that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more detail. I'm going to buzz through these slides real quick because I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of Google Analytics, but there's some significant improvements that were made. If you can see, we're close to 2 million visits per fiscal year. 75% of the traffic is coming organically through either direct links from Google or calsouth.com visits. Remainder of the traffic can be contributed to our clubs and leagues, and I've listed those there for you, as well as Yahoo and Bing searches. And our total page views is about 8.2 million. So why is this important to me if I'm a league president sitting in the audience right now? Why do I care? Well, because this is how people find us and then they find you. That's important. So we need to perform here. We need to make sure that we're optimizing, and we have seen a great deal of improvement. Let's look at the next slide here. On Facebook, we actually exploded on Facebook in the last 12 months. We've got some key staff members that are working in the office that have helped us, some partnerships that I mentioned earlier, and you can see the kind of numbers that we have. We grew over 23,000 in 1 year. That's significant. Our reach averages several tens of thousands, thousands to tens of thousands per post, and then our top post are videos. How many people have seen the videos of, the Cal South Spotlight videos this year? Maybe see a show of hands. Okay, those videos are amazing. We've done a really good job producing those out of our staff. So if you haven't seen them, they're on the website. You can go click on them, and it'll take you to YouTube, and you can take a look at them. They're really well done. And then engagement. So our engagement is up as well compared to others in the industry. At the Soccer Association level, we're doing quite well, but we want to continue to improve. Social media analytics, you see our Facebook reach is extended. Some posts up to 17,000 people are looking at these things. Videos, 13,000 plus, by far the most popular. Links, photos, and status updates, you can see that we're in the thousands now. Only a couple of years ago, we really had no presence out there. It was real small. So we're making great progress in this area. YouTube statistics, again, I mentioned the YouTube videos that have been posted have been really successful. They've been shared over and over and over again. These are the numbers, 14 versus 15. You see that there is a pretty dramatic increase. If you look at the views, going from 15 to 67,000 is a pretty dramatic growth. Twitter. So Twitter is an area where we're making some pretty good progress as well. We're up to 4,500 current followers. I think that this is an area where we have a lot of room to improve still. And again, why is it important to you in the audience? It's a way of staying socially connected with people in the soccer industry or people that like soccer, that follow soccer. If they connect to us, they also connect to you. So let's keep that connection flowing. Let's take advantage of this growth that you see here. Instagram, you see that we've nearly doubled our followers on Instagram. So Instagram is all pictures and videos, and it's very engaging. Our partnership with Goal Nation. Goal Nation has a really extensive social media network that we've tapped into. We've been able to reach 2 million readers through that relationship that we've had. We have 75 plus articles that went out talking about you, our members, and I think that's important. If you have a club or a team that does something of interest, we like to get out there and do stories, and the partnership we've had with Diane over at Goal Nation has helped us achieve those results. One very significant, before it gets blown over, one very significant item is, we got retweeted by Landon Donovan. And, that sounds like, well, who cares? We all love Landon, but who cares if we retweet? Well, his network extends out to over 1 million followers. So when we write something that goes out on Twitter that people like and gets retweeted by someone like Landon Donovan, then it goes out to a whole lot of people, and they find out about Cal South and its membership. Membership growth, let's talk a little bit about that. We've got player registrations are up for both youth and adult. The end of year player total, 177,000 plus. It's the largest in history. So we don't want to just grow this number just for the sake of growing, but we want to have happy, satisfied members. The more members that we have, we hope that it's because we're doing a good job. Okay, so that's the review. Let's talk a little bit about the future. And this might be a little hard to see, but you might have remember those that were here last year, me talking about inverting the pyramid. So, and you might think, well, the Cal South Board of Directors sits way up here, and they're not reachable, and so on. And it's not the case. In this service model, what we're trying to get to, a membership service model, the Board of Directors is a foundation. Okay, so we're at the foundation supporting the pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is the members, I should say. And if you look at this here, what we have in order to support the members is we have staff excellence, because they're the ones that you interact with. And then supporting the staff, we have a leadership development program, and we have a technology solutions to help support them. This is not all there is in the pyramid. This is kind of a high-level overview, so let's talk a little bit about it. So, future, technology, one of the cornerstones of that pyramid. It's about time for us to get a Cal South app. Okay, a lot of clubs are actually creating apps now, leagues and clubs. So this is something that, for the vision that I would like to see Cal South is to actually develop a Cal South app. And the whole point of that is to provide that next generation technology solution that can actually reach you on the field and give you the kind of information you need when you're out on the field, doing the soccer business that you do every weekend or during the week at practice. So a Cal South app is in the roadmap that I'm putting out there for consideration. Website. So we need to increase the value to the member through the website. A more vibrant, mobile-friendly format. Right now, our website, if you pull it up on your phone, it's almost impossible to read. We know that, and we have every intention of improving on that. Increase the e-commerce capabilities. So right now, you can pretty much do just about everything when it comes to Cal South through our website. But we think there's other opportunities there as well. So in our rewrite of the website, we want to make sure we capture all those opportunities to increase your ability to conduct your business with Cal South online. And then, again, we talked about that knowledge base to provide the users the cumulative knowledge. Let's not lose that. It's like every time someone retires from soccer, we lose all that experience. So we want to capture that. We want to put it into a searchable database where you can have all those how-tos, like from laying out a field, building a practice plan, or even how to run a fundraiser. One of the members asked me at the start of today's event if we were going to talk about how to acquire sponsorships. Now, we do that at our Leadership Academy, but that's something that we could actually put into a knowledge base as well. And the organizational dashboard we talked about, this is so important. We really want to give the opportunity for the members to know exactly where they stand with Cal South with a click of a mouse. Leadership development. Let's talk about leadership development. Why is that important? Leadership development, why is it important? Well, essentially, you're all leaders here. And as leaders, you basically drive your organizations towards success or failure. Whichever it's going to be, it's really on the shoulders of leadership. So I think it's important for all of us as leaders to develop ourselves, and if Cal South can help organize that, then that's what I think part of our role is. Leadership sets the organization's agenda. So as leaders in your organizations, you're basically saying, hey, this is the direction we need to point the ship. You're setting the agenda to move forward. You're also modeling the tone for the organization. So, we all know organizations out there that have certain leaders, and that whole organization seems to be a certain style that they have. That's reflective of leadership. And then finally, it influences the attitudes of the organizational team members. So these are all important factors for developing the leaders in Cal South. That's why it's important. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So I have a short video for you. Just a few minutes. I want to give you a little bit of a taste of what we do at the Leadership Academy. Go ahead, Steve.
How many of you are completely comfortable with calling yourselves a leader? See, I've asked that question all the way across the country, and everywhere I ask it, no matter where, there's always a huge portion of the audience that won't put up their hand. And I've come to realize that we have made leadership into something bigger than us. We made it into something beyond us. We made it about changing the world. And we've taken this title of leader and we treat it as if it's something that one day we're going to deserve. But to give it to ourselves right now means a level of arrogance or cockiness that we're not comfortable with. And I worry sometimes that we spend so much time celebrating amazing things that hardly anybody can do that we've convinced ourselves that those are the only things we're celebrating. And we start to devalue the things that we can do every day. And we start to take moments where we truly are a leader, and we don't let ourselves take credit for it, and we don't let ourselves feel good about it. And I've been lucky enough over the last 10 years to work with some amazing people who have helped me redefine leadership in a way that I think has made me happier. And with my short time today, I just want to share with you the one story that is probably most responsible for that redefinition. I went to a school in a little school called Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. And on my last day there, a girl came up to me and she said, "I remember the first time that I met you." And then she told me a story that happened 4 years earlier. She said, On my day before I started university, I was in the hotel room with my mom and my dad, and I was so scared and so convinced that I couldn't do this, that I wasn't ready for university, that I just burst into tears. And my mom and my dad were amazing. They were like, look, we know you're scared, but let's just go tomorrow. Let's go to the first day, and if at any point you feel as if you can't do this, that's fine. Just tell us, we will take you home. We love you no matter what. And she says, so I went the next day, and I was standing in line getting ready for registration, and I looked around and I just knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I had to quit. And she says, I made that decision, and as soon as I made it, there was this incredible feeling of peace that came over me. And I turned to my mom and my dad to tell them that we needed to go home. And just at that moment, you came out of the Student Union building wearing the stupidest hat I have ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And you had a big sign promoting Shinorama, which is Students Fighting Cystic Fibrosis, a charity I've worked with for years. And you had a bucket full of lollipops. And you were walking along and you were handing the lollipops out to people in line and talking about Shinorama. And all of a sudden, you got to me, and you just stopped, and you stared. It was creepy. This girl right here knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then you looked at the guy next to me, and you smiled, and you reached in your bucket, you pulled out a lollipop, and you held it out to him, and you said, you need to give a lollipop to the beautiful woman standing next to you. And she said, I have never seen anyone get more embarrassed faster in my life. He turned beet red, and he wouldn't even look at me, he just kind of held the lollipop out like this. And I felt so bad for this dude that I took the lollipop. And as soon as I did, you got this incredibly severe look on your face, and you looked at my mom and my dad, and you said, look at that, look at that. First day away from home, and already she's taking candy from a stranger. And she said everybody lost it. 20 feet in every direction, everyone started to howl. And I know this is cheesy, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but in that moment when everyone was laughing, I knew that I shouldn't quit. I knew that I was where I was supposed to be, and I knew that I was home. And I haven't spoken to you once in the 4 years since that day, but I heard that you were leaving. And I had to come up and tell you that you've been an incredibly important person in my life, and I'm gonna miss you. Good luck. And she walks away, and I'm flattened. And she gets about 6 feet away, she turns around and smiles and goes, you should probably know this too. I'm still dating that guy 4 years later. A year and a half after I moved to Toronto, I got an invitation to their wedding. Here's the kicker, I don't remember that. I have no recollection of that moment, and I've searched my memory banks because that is funny, and I should remember doing it, and I don't remember it. And that was such an eye-opening, transformative moment for me to think that maybe the biggest impact I'd ever had on anyone's life, a moment that had a woman walk up to a stranger 4 years later and say, you've been an incredibly important person in my life, was a moment that I didn't even remember. How many of you guys have a lollipop moment, a moment where someone said something or did something that you feel fundamentally made your life better? All right. How many of you have told that person they did it? See, why not? We celebrate birthdays where all you have to do is not die for 365 days. And yet we let people who have made our lives better walk around without knowing it. And every single one of you has been the catalyst for a lollipop moment. You have made someone's life better by something that you said or that you did. And if you think you haven't, think about all the hands that didn't go back up when I asked that question. You're just one of the people who hasn't been told. But it is so scary to think of ourselves as that powerful. It can be frightening to think that we can matter that much to other people. Because as long as we make leadership something bigger than us, as long as we keep leadership something beyond us, as long as we make it about changing the world, we give ourselves an excuse not to expect it every day from ourselves and from each other. Marianne Williamson said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us. And my call to action today is that we need to get over that. We need to get over our fear of how extraordinarily powerful we can be in each other's lives. We need to get over it so we can move beyond it. And our little brothers and our little sisters, and one day our kids, or our kids right now, can watch us start to value the impact we can have on each other's lives more than money and power and titles and influence. We need to redefine leadership as being about lollipop moments. How many of them we create, how many of them we acknowledge, how many of them we pay forward, and how many of them we say thank you for. Because we've made leadership about changing the world, and there is no world. There's only 6 billion understandings of it. And if you change one person's understanding of it, one person's understanding of what they're capable of, one person's understanding of how much people care about them, one person's understanding of how powerful an agent for change they can be in this world, you've changed the whole thing. And if we can understand leadership like that, I think if we can redefine leadership like that, I think we can change everything. And it's a simple idea, but I don't think it's a small one. And I want to thank you all so much for letting me share it with you today.
Thank you for your patience in reviewing that video. That video kind of sums it up in many ways. You're all leaders here. You're all making a difference in your communities. You're changing the world one person at a time. And I think it's really, really important that you acknowledge that, and if you haven't already, and look at that opportunity to really bring meaningful change to the lives of the people that you touch every day. So that's what it's about, leadership development. That's why it's critical. That's why it's important. That's why I've made it an important item for my agenda. The board of directors have supported that concept, and we believe that leadership development, not only for our members, but for us, is very important. So let's go ahead and move on. The other component of that pyramid, you might remember, is staff excellence. So hire, train, empower staff to achieve operational excellence. It's really critical. I mean, some of you that have been around Cal South for a long time have shared with me, your experience in the past about maybe not getting an answer to your question before. And I can tell you right now that the feedback I've been getting lately has been that it's really getting better. We're not done improving it yet. We're going to continue to strive for excellence. Excellence is not something that you reach, it's a place that you're always chasing. And that's what we're going to do. We want to provide service with customer satisfaction as our number one goal. It's the most important thing that when you deal with Cal South, when you have a Cal South experience, that you walk away saying, you know what, they took care of everything I needed. That's what we're shooting for. One of the things we're doing, we're extending our service hours to provide coverage when members need the assistance the most. So it's kind of funny, most of you are volunteers and you work and you come home and you're ready to sit down and do Cal South business and the office is closed. So we're looking at ways to improve upon that. Improve communications by using non-traditional forms of information exchange. So maybe the future might include things like when you register. I mean, it was a big deal to give us your email address 10 years ago. Well, that's still important. But maybe what we need to get is your Twitter handle or your Facebook identity. Maybe we need to connect with you through other non-traditional ways. And then, of course, it's really important that we measure all of our efforts and that we come back and we set targets and goals, and that when we reach them, great, then we raise the bar again. When we don't reach them, we go back and figure out what could we do better. Next. Board of Directors. Remember that this is at the foundation of that pyramid. This is really important. That's why we're here. That's why we're on the board. We need to hold ourselves accountable, and we do hold ourselves accountable. Delivering value by setting policies and focusing on the strategy. If we focus on the strategy, we're focused on the future. That means that we're actually thinking about your club or league today as well as 5 years from now. What kind of Cal South do we need to be in 10 years in order to make sure that you see value in being affiliated with us? We need to hold ourselves accountable to create the environment that enables our members to be successful. The truth is that we don't schedule the games in the leagues. We don't schedule the referees on the field. We don't schedule the coaches. But we create that environment where there are well-trained coaches, where there are certified referees, and enough of them. That's what we do, and we need to focus on those things and hold ourselves accountable for them. Further, we need to participate, hold ourselves accountable, participate in annual training. So many years ago when I first joined the board, you got what you got when a person joined the board. If they were a lawyer or a technologist or whatever they did, that's what they brought to the table. It doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to be a board member. And I think many of you that are on the boards of your local affiliates probably see the same thing. So how do you get to a point where you're improving upon yourself and the organization in order to better serve your membership? Well, we need to hold ourselves accountable as a board of directors to participate in that annual training. And by the way, we have our first of 3 sessions coming up in about 2 weeks. So we're hoping, I know all the board members committed to it, and we're all hoping that we're going to learn something new. Attend member meetings and events. That's our job. Okay? If you're not seeing your board member out on the field, shoot us an email, invite us over, or at your board meetings or whatever. I know our board members love to engage. They love to be involved. They're very active in the community. If you haven't seen one at your meeting, just invite us. We'll come. Because like I said, it is our job. It's how we stay connected, by the way. And then supporting the staff to create this member service organization. The bottom line is that what kind of organization are we going to be? Are we going to be a rule writing organization? Are we going to be an organization that runs events? Or what is it we're going to do? Well, we do a lot a lot of those things, a little bit of everything, right? But at the end of the day, the number one thing we do, our number one product is service. And that service is for our members. So it's up to us as a board to create that environment to support our employees and make sure that they have everything they need so that your next experience with a Cal South employee is a very positive one. And lastly, we need to hold ourselves accountable to a higher standard. As members with a fiduciary responsibility, elected by you, the membership, you send us there, you trust us to do a good job. Hey, we don't always do the things that you want us to do. You might ask us a question and we might not always give the answer that you want. But we need to hold ourselves to a standard where when we do those things, we do them with integrity. And that you know that you're getting an honest answer and you're getting valuable support. That's what we need to do, and that's what we hold ourselves accountable to. So with that being said, I'll open it up. Questions or comments? Okay. Oh, there we have one. Thank you.
Increase in the membership. Do you also look at the decline in membership as kids are getting older?
That's a great question. Let me repeat it so everyone can hear. The question is when we look at membership increase, are we also tracking retention and the players that are leaving when they get older? And the answer is we want to do that. I don't believe we've had the data available, or maybe I should say the data might have been there, but the analytics weren't set up. So one of the things that we're doing is working with business partners to make sure that we can get that kind of retentive data. It is important to understand, and as a matter of fact, it's not just how many players left last year or how many did we keep out of all the ones we had. It's also why are they leaving? So for example, one of the comments that came up before was, does the level of coaching license have an effect on player retention? And if it does, what is it? So these are some of the things that we're actually taking a look at technology solutions to help us address. And I think the organizational dashboard might be a great place if we can display some of that by organization, if that makes sense. So, anyone else? Yes.
Has there been any discussion on just the number of games right now going on? I know each league is growing, and I think the amount of games that are happening right now versus the amount of referees that we have, for us anyways, has been an issue. We've had several games without referees, and it's been kind of a problem lately.
Okay, that's interesting. Where do your teams play?
We're based out of Santa Monica.
Off Santa Monica, okay. SCDSL, okay. So the question was, has there been any discussion or analysis on the number of games that are being played, the referee support that we have, and how to balance that, how to make sure we're addressing the needs of growth and so on? Because I think that's really the issue there, is that if we grow by 25% over the next 3 years, will we have enough referees to cover that? That's a great point. Well, so let me just say this. It's the people under this tent that are going to help us solve that problem, because you're going to help us in terms of finding people that want to referee, and then we're going to help by certifying them. So it's a collaborative effort is one thing I would say. Now, that has been a topic of discussion over the years about making sure that we have enough referees and coaches for the future. And when we have our discussion a little bit later this afternoon about the development initiatives out of U.S. Soccer, we're going to see that there's going to be some immediate need coming up right now. So yes, that's a great point, and it is something that is in our area that we're looking at things that we have to focus on. I wish I had a better answer for you, but it is something we all have to work on together. Yes. Yes.
I think there's a huge shortage of referees. In addition to the growth, but there's just a huge shortage of referees. I agree with you 100% that individuals under this matter are going to be part of what the growth needs to be. Because not only do we need to provide them with a system where we can support them to become referees, but that also will change, and I'm sure everyone's going to agree on this, the quality of referees. Because we, at least in San Diego,
I couldn't agree more. So just in case those in the back might not have been able to hear, the comments were along the lines of, we've got a generation of referees out there, and they're aging out, and maybe the quality of refereeing might be aging out with them, and we need to make sure and recruit the referees of the future, and those referees of the future are playing soccer for you right now. So how can we somehow leverage that talent that exists on our soccer fields? And I think your idea is great to actually have them become certified referees and earn money refereeing games to help them pay for their club dues. That's a great idea. So the comment is that the kids out there in the club system may not know the pathway to become referees. So if there's anything we can do, George, to help get that information out, I think that's what the comment is. Thank you very much for that. My contact information is up here. I'm connected in several media platforms. Some of you I've connected with on LinkedIn, some on Twitter. Love to share knowledge and information. Reach out to me anytime. Invite me to your events or your meetings. I'll be happy to attend. Thank you very. Oh, I'm sorry. Sue has a question. I didn't see. I'm sorry. Yes, Sue.
CSL always used to have a program where they used to get the referees, other referees, to Ernie, do you guys still do that?
No.
That used to be a big thing, and happens to our referees big time.
Okay. So maybe we might be able to have a talk with our member leagues. We've got the best leagues in the country, by the way. Let me repeat the question. The question is that CSL used to have a referee program that was essentially a pipeline of referees that they would work with Cal South to send young referees to Cal South. Maybe not just young, maybe it was all ages. Yeah, so interested referees from our member leagues to Cal South to get them into our system. And that it sounds like that program is not in operation now, but let me just offer the invitation to any of our clubs and leagues out there that would like to open up a pipeline to Cal South for either coaches, referees, or guess what, guys, even administrators. Because future board members have to come from somewhere. Maybe they're going to come off of your board, maybe they're going to come off of out of your league or club and not necessarily have been a board member in your organization. But yes, we need to establish those communication lines and links. That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that, Sue. Are there any other questions or comments? Yes.
A number of years ago, I recall our club hosting referee classes, and I think it was Cal South representative now, and did the course, the kids take the course, and they did Cal South do agree with that?
No, as a matter of fact, we still do that. George or Johnny, where are you? The question is going to be, that Cal South used to come out to my league or my club and put on a referee clinic. Does Cal South still do that? And I'm positive we still do that. George, you want to answer that? Yeah, come on up. So, this is a fundamental pipeline that we've had in place forever, and I'm sure we still do it. So maybe the question is how do we activate that? Yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and give George the mic, and he can take a moment just to share with you how you can reach out.
Thank you. Okay. I am Cal South. Don't call me George. Just call me Cal South. Okay. We have at this point right now from last year 1,000 extra referees on the roster. Okay. There's no longer this 16 hours of sequestering referees in one classroom and they're on their phone. The United States Soccer Federation has used Cal South to say, why don't you try it and see what happened? All the moms, no dads are calling me, but moms are calling me, that's the best thing we ever done. They do it online, and we have 4 hours on the field of play exercises for referees. Okay? We have 32 associations across Cal South, all the way from San Luis Obispo, all the way to Presidio South, I call it, okay? There is no game today that has not been covered. We have a lot of competition, but there's no game that has not been covered. So let me know, I'll be in the back. If we are invited to go there to speak, we would love to go there and recruit. I recruit from college graduates. I recruit from recreational soccer, okay? I go down to recreational soccer and bring them in, register them, and we have increased that, okay? It's not just from leagues that are in here, but from recreational soccer. I'll be in the back. If you want anything from me, please let me know. I answer my phone 24/7. So, let us know what we can do for you, all the way down to El Centro. We even travel all the way down to El Centro. Please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, George. And I know for a fact he will come out, and he does answer his phone. I've called him in the middle of the night, and he'll answer it. So thank you, George. Yes.
On the recreational side, are you looking to expand what are we looking for the growth? What are we doing to grow the recreational side?
That's a great question. So we have several board members that are very passionate about recreational soccer, and every board member cares about recreational soccer. So what we're doing is this year in the budget we allocated $100,000 directly for development of recreational soccer, and then we actually allocated an additional $38,000. So we've got $138,000 on top of what we spent before in order to promote the development of recreational soccer. One of the big events that we do is the Tournament of Champions. It was in Escondido last year. I'm not sure where it's going to be this year. It'll be in January though, and it's a way of building that interest and giving the recreational leagues the opportunity to offer this as a carrot. Hey, come join our league because we will send teams to the recreational Tournament of Champions. So this is just one thing. Now, the other thing we mentioned earlier is hiring that recreational director. And I know that we're right on the doorstep of that, and Johnny Garza can probably talk about that when he has his turn at the mic as well. So when that person comes on board, we're expecting them to bring knowledge and information that we can act on. So we've got the money set. Now it's just a matter of what are the programs that would be best to utilize it on. I hope that answers your question. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
One of the largest problems, that we have is with facilities. I know Cal South has a budget for, training facilities. Did that budget change this year? And the budget from last year, did we utilize 100% of the budget, or we didn't pull everything that we could have?
Okay, so let me see. I'm going to repeat the question and make sure I understand. The question is a big problem for everyone under this tent is fields and facilities. There's no doubt about it. I don't think anybody in here would say, oh, we've got too many fields. I mean, it's a big problem for everyone, and real estate is expensive. And as you know, there's been a lot of developments in the soccer market here in Southern California. There are new facilities, private facilities, and they are very expensive. By the hour, by the weekend, we're talking as much as $100,000 possibly. So this is a very serious concern for all of us. The question is what is Cal South doing about it? You had budget last year. Is there still budget? How was the budget used? Well, we have a couple of ways of addressing this. One is our long-standing relationship with the Cal South Foundation, the Cal South Soccer Foundation. And Alan Whitman is the president of that. He was going to be here today, but he was unable to make it due to medical reasons. So I'll just leave it at that. He has pledged his support for moving forward with our program and supporting our members. We actually spent the last year kind of reconstructing our relationship with the foundation to make sure that the needs of our members came first. That foundation has, I believe it's 2 grant cycles per year, and you can write a request for financial support for field development, for field acquisition, or even field construction if it makes sense. They're usually looking for larger complexes that will serve more members. Not so much, hey, I can build one field here for my club, because that doesn't really help everyone necessarily. There has been a big push in the area of futsal as well. So the idea there is that if we can get kids playing soccer, even if it's just on a basketball court or tennis court sized area, playing the game of futsal, then maybe that helps serve the community as well, especially in the urban areas where there is no large 18-acre area of grass. So, and then further exacerbated is the, record drought of the last 1,000 years that's really hammering at all of us. So as far as the foundation is concerned, we're moving forward with that. We should have some new announcements coming out, I would expect, in the next 60 days in order to support the membership and tell you how you can access those funds. Now, as far as internal Cal South budget for fields, what the Board of Directors approved was a budget that basically supports the rental of these elite premium facilities in order to host our state and national cup. Now, I know that doesn't help you when you're trying to do practice on Wednesday or Thursday night, and it doesn't help you when it comes to playing your games on Saturday and Sunday. But it is one area that we have dedicated resources to in order to make sure that when your teams attend one of our events, whether it's the Recreational Tournament of Champions, the State Cup at the mayor's, governor's, or president's level, or the National Championship Series that we host for USYS, we have secured fields for that, and it is very expensive. And Johnny may address that also when he gets up to talk as well, should that be part of his presentation. But the Board of Directors is very sensitive to this. We have allocated funds to at least make sure that we've covered those things, and we have the foundation where we're trying to build and develop soccer fields throughout Southern California. We need your help, okay? So we need your help to identify opportunities, to work for those opportunities, because you know opportunity doesn't always come and knock. Sometimes you got to go drag it down, hit it on the head with a club, and drag it back to your cave, right? So opportunities need to work together to bring those to the forefront, and then hopefully we can seize those opportunities and create more playing facilities. That's really the best answer I have for you. I don't know if anyone else in the room would like to address that as well. Yes. That's a great question. So the complex out in San Bernardino was actually being bid on by one of our leagues of affiliation, the Co-Soccer League, and we decided to support their efforts to acquire those fields. So no, we did not. We thought it would be a big mistake to go in there and compete with one of our affiliates and say, well, let's see, they're going to bid $1, we're going to bid $1.50, and then they'll come back and bid $1.75. So we supported their efforts in trying to acquire that facility, to answer your question. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you all very much. I really appreciate all the time and attention. Most of all, I really appreciate all of your support for what we're trying to accomplish at Cal South. We cannot do it alone. We really need your help. We need your support, and we need to hear your voices, and that's why we're here today. I know one of the big items on the agenda is the development initiatives out of U.S. Soccer, and the Board of Directors decided to give you a chance to come together so we could listen to what you have to say before we make any decisions. So we're looking forward to the feedback. Thank you again very much.